Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking on a really interesting system, something called the Puttalyze concept.
Yeah,
It's more than just technique, isn't it? It's about how you can program your nervous system.
exactly. For that sort of instinctual accuracy.
And we're focusing right in on part one, mastering distance control, specifically through their Core-Putt Drill.
Right. And our mission today, it's pretty fundamental, really. We want to unpack why this system puts distance control,
Yeah.
well, basically above everything else,
Before direction, before reading the grade.
before all of that.
Yeah.
It's the foundation,
Yeah.
non-negotiable. And we're going, beyond just how the stroke looks. We're
Sure.
diving into the neurological stuff behind it.
Sure.
The science, they claim, gives you this shortcut to performing better under pressure.
Absolutely. So for you listening, whether you're, trying to shave strokes off your handicap, or maybe you're just fascinated by how we learn skills.
Motor learning, yeah.
Yeah, motor learning. We're looking for that point. You stop thinking so much, stop calculating, and just trust your body.
Mm-hmm.
Programming that works when it matters most, right? When the pressure's on. Okay, so let's dig into that core idea, because it really does fly in the face of a lot of traditional golf coaching, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Line reading the break, that usually comes first. But Puttalyze is saying, no, get your distance control sorted before you even worry about aim. Why? Why is speed or pace so much more important than direction?
Well, it boils down to kind of a harsh statistical truth, really.
Okay.
This system argues pretty convincingly, I think, that if you actually look at why putts miss,
Yeah.
the vast majority aren't wild direction errors. They're distance errors.
So too short or too long.
Exactly. And think about it logically.
Right.
A putt hit on the perfect line, but it stops, a foot short or blasts 5 feet past.
Zero chance.
Zero chance. Statistically speaking, it's a failed putt the second it leaves the putter face if the speed is wrong.
I get the logic, I do. But, when I'm playing or watching the pros, the agony always seems to be about missing the line, right? Just by an inch or two. So why does it feel like line is the big problem if the data points to distance?
I think it's because direction is, well, it's easier to see. It's something you consciously think about. Aim here.
Right.
Distance control.
Yeah.
That's a trickier beast altogether. And here's the crucial bit.
Yeah.
The two are completely linked. You cannot pick the right aim point or figure out how much break to play.
The green reading part.
Yeah, the green
Sure.
reading. You can't do that accurately if you don't know how fast the ball is going to be rolling and how far it's going to travel because of that speed.
Okay. So the speed of the putt actually changes the line you need to take.
That's exactly it. Pace dictates line. Always.
So if you can't control the pace.
Your chosen line is basically just a guess. It's arbitrary.
Right.
Think about a slope. Ball rolling slowly uphill. Gravity grabs it, makes
Right.
brake loads. Ball rolling faster. It holds its line much more, brakes less. It's this impossible puzzle if you haven't nailed consistent speed first.
Okay.
But here's the real kicker, the core insight from Puttalyze.
Yeah.
They argue distance control isn't mainly about mechanics. Your grip, your stance, that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's fundamentally neurological.
Yeah.
Your brain, specifically, needs to learn to connect a particular movement, a specific energy output,
Right.
with an exact distance the ball rolls. And that connection needs to be automatic, not
Yeah.
something you could consciously figure out each time.
So we're trying to hardwire it, get past the conscious brain and onto autopilot.
Pretty much.
But why is consistent distance so much harder than consistent direction? You see tour pros stripe it down the fairway, Direction seems solvable.
Well, direction, especially with, modern drivers and irons, it's become relatively easier to manage the big misses. But distance, putting distance,
Mm-hmm.
that demands incredible fine motor control
Hmm.
and perfect internal timing. And you have to do it under constantly changing conditions, like green speed or slope.
Great.
Directional control is a bit more stable. Distance needs the brain to process the length of the backswing, the acceleration, the rhythm, and match all that energy to the result before you even hit the ball.
Wow.
It requires what scientists call predictive motor control. And that ability, it lives in a very specific brain region that needs very specific training.
Okay, so if that automatic predictive programming is what we're after,
Yeah.
then this Core-Putt Drill must be how you install it, right? The software update, so to speak.
That's the idea, yeah.
They call it the cornerstone drill, a daily neurological calibration. So what does it actually involve? How do you do it? Especially if you're, short on practice time.
That's one of its strengths, actually. It's
Yeah.
designed to be quick, repeatable.
Okay.
You find a flat spot, On the practice green, that's important, needs to be flat initially. Put 3 golf balls down.
Right.
And the instruction is simple, but strict. Make 3 putts, one after the other, using exactly the same stroke motion every single time.
Okay, same stroke. Got it. Not aiming at a hole then.
No hole. Your only goal is for all 3 balls to roll the exact same distance. Doesn't matter how far, just that they're identical.
Right. That sounds... Well, it sounds like a standard consistency drill, so fair. Trying to repeat the same thing.
It does, up to a point. But the emphasis is crucial. Consistency in the result, the distance achieved, by focusing purely on consistency in the input, the stroke itself.
Focusing on the feel.
All about duplicating the feeling of that stroke.
Yeah.
But then comes the weird part. The bit that makes people look at you funny.
Uh-oh. What is it?
After you hit that 3rd ball and it's rolling,
Yeah.
you immediately and very deliberately turn your head completely to the side, away from the balls.
You look away while they're still rolling.
Look away. Break all visual contact with the result. And you do this little sequence every day, preferably right at the start of your practice.
Okay, that head turn, that specific action. I mean, yeah, I can imagine getting some funny looks on a busy green doing that.
Oh, you definitely do.
But why? Why is that necessary? It feels completely counterintuitive. You're trying to learn distance? Surely you need to see how far the ball went.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But that's precisely why it's so powerful. It's what they call a neuromotor cue.
Neuromotor cue. Okay.
See, our visual system, the visual cortex in the brain, it loves to take charge. It's constantly judging outcomes. Did it go in? Was it short? Was it long?
Right. The feedback loop.
Exactly. But by deliberately turning your head, you're essentially telling the visual system, nope, stay out of this. You're silencing its interference. This forces your brain to rely only on the feedback coming from your motor system. You know, the feeling in your muscles, the timing, the rhythm of the stroke itself.
So you're training your body's internal ruler, not your body's judgment.
Precisely. Training the internal sense of distance, not the visual assessment of where the ball ended up.
Yeah.
It bypasses the visual pressure. And this is where we get into the really cool neurological stuff. Why that head turn, why that specific drill structure actually works.
Okay, lay it on me.
We're basically targeting the cerebellum.
The little brain, right? Tucked away at the back.
That's the one, the cerebellum. It's like the dedicated processor in your brain for things like timing, rhythm, coordination, and crucially, movement, memory, and error correction.
Right. This is fascinating because you usually think of the big motor cortex, the main part of the brain, just telling the muscles what to do. Why is the cerebellum the star player here? Why can't the main cortex just figure out the distance?
Well, the motor cortex generally works on conscious commands.
Yeah.
I want to hit this putt 20 feet. That's intention.
Okay.
Cerebellum. It's all about automation. It learns patterns through repetition and makes them smooth, efficient, unconscious.
Ah, okay.
When you're under pressure, your conscious brain, the motor cortex, it gets easily overloaded, right? With calculations, doubts, fears. Don't leave it short. Don't hit it too hard.
Yeah, analysis paralysis.
Exactly. But the cerebellum, it just runs its program. It thrives on that consistent repetition from the drill. It's building this highly optimized automatic circuit for distance control that doesn't need your conscious brain messing things up.
So every time I do that drill, make that identical stroke, I'm essentially etching that distance program deeper into the cerebellum, laying down that track.
You got it.
That's
And
awesome.
critically, because you're not staring at the hole, not obsessing about whether the ball went the right distance.
You're removing the visual outcome bias.
Perfect term. Visual outcome bias. Your visual system is like the drama queen of the brain, right?
Yep.
It's always shouting, oh no, you missed, or yes, perfect.
By looking away, you give the cerebellum clean, pure feedback, just the facts. Here's the feeling of the stroke, here's the rhythm, here's the energy output. Ignore the drama.
So you're training the quality of the input, the stroke itself, not chasing the result.
That's the absolute key. And that clean input is essential for the programming to stick.
Makes sense.
And this allows for something called feed-forward calibration. Feed-forward calibration. Okay, what's that?
Basically, through doing the drill over and over, pairing the motor feeling of the stroke energy with the actual roll distance, even though you're not watching it stop, the brain learns to predict the outcome.
Predict, not just react.
Predict, based purely on the feeling of the energy you put into the stroke. It builds a model. So when you're on the course, it's not consciously calculating, okay, 15 feet, slight uphill, need this much backswing.
Right.
Instead, the cerebellum just accesses the program. This feeling of energy equals 15 feet. It's instinctive. And that unconscious sense of distance is way more reliable under pressure than trying to consciously eyeball it every time.
Okay, I'm sold on the prediction part. But let's go back to that head turn again, that final step. You said it's an encoding cue. How does physically turning your head help lock this into long-term memory? Turn it from just practice feel into real instinct.
It's a fascinating mechanism. That simple physical act of cutting off the visual input immediately after the motor action acts like a signal to the cerebellum. It's like saying, okay, sequence complete. Record this specific feeling, this energy level, store it as a finished unit.
Like hitting save?
Exactly like hitting save. It reinforces the link between that motor pattern and the brain's perception of the speed it generated. It helps shift the skill from your conscious working memory, which is easily disrupted, into the automated, much more robust, pressure-proof domain of the cerebellum.
So you're literally training the brain. Consistent energy is a predictable distance.
That's the core principle.
Yeah.
Programming the prediction.
Right. We've got the body learning this internal feel, this neurological programming for distance. That makes sense. But, eventually you do have to actually get the ball in the hole.
Naturally.
So how does the system help you confirm that the distance you've learned is, well, correct for a given part without just going back to that visual guesswork we tried to eliminate? This is where the app fits in, isn't it?
Exactly. The app is the bridge. It provides the crucial visual confirmation, but based on physics, not just feel, it closes that feedback loop.
How does it do that?
So after you've used the Core-Putt Drill to get that consistent stroke feel, you then use the app. It can simulate putts based on different slopes, different green speeds.
Okay.
You tell it the distance you're trying to hit the ball and the speed you want it rolling when it gets there, that consistent speed you've grooved.
Right.
And the app calculates and shows you the precise aim point needed for that speed and distance, considering the slope. And critically, it shows you the ideal distance point where the ball should ideally stop if it misses.
So it connects the feel from the drill to the actual physics of the putt on the green?
Precisely. It takes the unconscious learning from the cerebellum and translates it into conscious, verifiable information. It either confirms your internal calibration is spot on or helps you make tiny adjustments. It marries your instinct with the actual physics.
And one of the things the app visualizes, which really caught my eye, is this idea of effective hole size.
Yes. This is such a key concept, and it hammers home why speed control is so vital, even if you hit your intended line perfectly.
Explain that.
Well, think about the hole. It's 4¼ inches wide, right?
Yep.
But if your ball arrives at the hole going too fast, the laws of physics mean the effective target size actually shrinks.
Shrinks. How?
Because at higher speeds, the ball has more energy. Any slight imperfection in the strike or a tiny variation in the green or the hole means the ball is more likely to hit the edge and lip out rather than dropping in softly.
Ah, okay. So faster speed means less margin for error, even if you're online.
Exactly. For the hole to play its full actual size, giving you the biggest possible target the ball needs to arrive at a very specific optimal speed. The Puttalyze folks pegged this at around 3 revolutions per second. Or ARPs.
3 ARPs, okay.
Yeah, hit it much faster than that, and even a putt that looks like it's going in can catch the edge and spin out. The app shows you this visually, how the target effectively gets smaller as the speed increases. It makes it crystal clear why that consistent energy output, the thing you train with the Core-Putt Drill, is what gives you the best chance of the ball actually falling in. And the results people report. They seem pretty compelling when they stick with this daily calibration.
Yeah. What kind of tangible improvements are we talking? Stuff you'd actually see on the scorecard?
Well, the main things people consistently mention after, say, just 2 or 3 weeks of daily Core-Putt practice are, first, a big drop in 3 putts. That's huge.
Definitely. Killer for the scorecard.
Yeah. And second, making more of those short to mid-range putts.
Yeah.
The 4 to 10 footers. More 1 putts from there.
Okay.
And third, and this is really interesting, especially if you play different courses, they report adapting much, much faster to different green speeds.
Because the internal calibration is solid.
Exactly. Because your nervous system is tuned daily to connect stroke energy with distance, you're not relying so much on visual guesswork when you step onto unfamiliar greens. The adjustment period is way shorter. It's like having an internal gyroscope for pace.
Okay, so the Core-Putt Drill, phase 1, sounds like it tackles maybe 80% of the putting puzzle by just building that consistent energy input.
It's the foundation for sure.
But you mentioned it's part of a bigger 3-phase system. If phase 1 gives you consistency, why do you need phase 2 and 3? What else is there to fix? Is it more mental?
That's a really good question, because phase 1 gives you the consistent tool, the reliable stroke. But it doesn't necessarily address, well, fear.
Fear.
Yeah. Under pressure, especially as we get closer to the hole, that our natural protective instincts can kick in. And what do they often make us do?
Leave it short. Decelerate. The yips almost.
Exactly. That classic fear of three-putting makes you unconsciously hit it softer, leave it short. You sabotage the consistent stroke you built. So that's why Phase 2 is called the Instinct Challenge Drill. It's specifically designed to make you aware of how those protective instincts are messing with your performance.
How does it do that?
It sets up situations that deliberately trigger that tendency to underhit, forcing you to confront it and consciously override it. It basically proves to you, in practice, that your default instinct under pressure might be to fail safely by leaving it short.
Right, revealing the self-sabotage. And then Phase 3, the overshoot drill. What's that for?
So, once you've seen your tendency to be cautious, the overshoot drill actively trains your nervous system to accept and even prefer hitting the ball past the hole.
Okay, reprogramming the definition of good.
Precisely. It trains the feel for the full range of acceptable speeds that will still get the ball in the hole, ensuring you commit to rolling it past the cup with confidence. It teaches your brain that going, say, a foot or two past is a successful outcome, because short is always a failure.
Got it.
So it completes the picture. Consistency from Phase 1, overcoming fear in Phase 2, and building aggressive confidence in Phase 3. All built on that neurological foundation of distance control. It aligns the mechanics with the right mindset. Hashtag ouch, tag outro. You know, what's really striking about this whole Puttalyze approach is how it weaves together the motor control, the neuroscience, and the actual physics of how a ball rolls on a green.
Yeah, it's quite holistic.
It really is. It feels like they're trying to recondition putting from the inside out, aiming for a skill that's not just technically sound, but genuinely repeatable, resistant to pressure, and adaptable to whatever green you're playing on.
So thinking about all this, what's the takeaway for you, the listener, if mastering something like golf distance control really comes down to this unconscious neurological programming achieved by kind of ignoring the immediate visual result and just focusing relentlessly on consistent energy input? It does make you wonder, doesn't it? What other complex skills in your life, maybe playing an instrument, maybe giving a really important presentation, maybe even just communicating effectively under stress, could you dramatically improve those if you found a way to dial down the pressure of the immediate visual feedback, the outcome focus, and just zeroed in on the consistent quality, the deeply ingrained repetition of the input instead?
Interesting thought. Something to chew on, perhaps, next time you find yourself practicing something deliberately.